Banjul, broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. This is GRTS News at 2200 hours, and in our top stories this evening. Transforming the country's road infrastructure ahead of the 2022 OIC Summit in the Gambia. President Adama Barrow made a surprise visit to assess the condition of road networks in the Greater Banjul area. Kora maestro Tata Jabate dies after battling a long illness. Digital Gambia Limited and SCAF on the verge of divorce following recommendations by the Board of Directors to terminate its contract on the implementation of digital terrestrial television transmission.
Content service providers in the country. A Senegalese company SCAF
forces with the Gambia Police Force to inaugurate a new police intervention unit quarters in the upper away from home, United
other
States
countries like France,
of
the
tens
UK,
of thousands
and now
of Americans and
Germany are
Afghan
sending
allies
out
from the
a special
Afghan
operations
capital,
teams into Kabul,
despite
the
some
green
safety
zone, the
challenges.
diplomatic zone.
And hospitals in Tunisia struggle with persistent oxygen crisis despite the support from foreign countries and government's aid of the oxygen production unit of the Tunisian Health Department. Details of that and more coming ahead in this edition of GRTS News. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Ibrahim Cham. It's great to have you here. Let's begin with the executive. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, on Friday toured several roads within the Greater Banjul area. The roads are part of the proposed OIC project, which seeks to transform the road infrastructure ahead of the summit next year. As we hear in this report by Momodu Jallo, the tour has raised expectations among the people of the affected areas.
President His Excellency Adama Barrow set out this morning for a monitoring tour of proposed roads earmarked for construction under the OIC projects. The President, accompanied by officials of the National Roads Authority and OIC Gambia, so to see the roads which are part of a $50 million project that is set to transform the road infrastructure within the Greater Banjul area.
But all the time, I see this road on a map. I say, no, that is not enough. I have to go physically and see the roads. And really, I'm very, very happy because if these roads are done, there will be alternative roads. They will open up the Gambia. They will reduce the congestion. And now, we have agreed with the contractor, we have identified contractors. We are now waiting for no objection from Saudi Arabia. The moment we have the no objection, definitely work will start proper. And I think that will be very, very soon.
The process leading to this has been long and arduous, but the President is optimistic that works will start in earnest after meeting all the criteria set out by partners and securing funding.
You cannot develop without roads. Without roads, there will be no development. The roads is a game changer. So we have done over 600 kilometers now. We did, it will make a huge difference as far as our infrastructural development is concerned.
These roads are some of the most strategic within the Greater Banjul area, and their proposed construction, according to the Gambian leader, is a game changer, as it will decongest the cities and allow the free flow of traffic.
These roads are about $50 million project, 50 kilometers and 50 million. And we have another road that is the dual carriage, that will be about $82 million. So combined, you are talking about $132 million. This is a huge project. This is a very, very big project. This is a game changer. It will change the life of the people, especially people who live around these areas. You have lot 1, that is KMC, and lot 2 is West Coast region.
The projects are divided into 2 lots, distributed amongst 4 contractors to expedite works. The tour generated excitement amongst the affected communities as people lined the roads to welcome the President as he drove through bumpy and water-filled streets in Kololi, through Brufut Wulinkama to Sukuta, and later Serekunda Joko and New Josma.
I will tell the Gambian people to cooperate with us, to support us whilst we are doing this road. Because without their cooperation, we cannot do the road. And this is national interest. National interest first before personal interest. I will call on every Gambian to support us, support the OIC roads, support the contractors, support the government, so that we can all fulfill this project together.
The president saw firsthand the condition of the roads, met local community leaders, and gave assurances that the project will be completed within the agreed time frame. For now, the people within the greater Banjul area will feel reassured that government is serious about tackling the acute road problems within this populous area, where movement from one part to the other can be a nightmare.
In the reaction of the people, you will know very well that they need these roads. These roads have been done years past. So definitely, I think the people appreciate what we are doing, and they are really very happy seeing that these roads are coming to start.
The monitoring tour ended in Suguta, where the president performed Friday prayers at the Central Mosque. Modu Jallo, GRTS News.
Moving on, the Board of Directors of Digital Gambia Limited, a subsidiary of the Gambia Radio and Television Services, with relevant stakeholders recommended the termination of the contract between Digital Gambia Limited and ESCAF on the implementation of digital terrestrial television transmission agreement. The decision was arrived at the closure of a two-day retreat in Kololi organized by Digital Gambia Limited. This was prompted by many attempts to amicably address the issues of concern in the agreement, but to no avail. Usman Mane was at the retreat and he files in this report.
Digital Gambia Limited was established as a subsidiary of the Gambia Radio and Television Services, GRTS, to provide platform for content service providers in the digital transmission process. In fulfillment of its mandate, DGL is tasked to work closely with all content service providers in the country. A Senegalese company, ESCAF, who was first awarded a contract in 2016 that was rescinded by 2018, and in 2019, ESCAF was again awarded a contract on a special build, operate, and transfer basis to bankroll the digital terrestrial transmission process in the Gambia. The implementation of this project seems contrary to the contractual agreement, thus the convergence amongst others. In his address, DGL's board chairman Dominic Mendy noted the technical incapability of ESCAF in deploying content services of providers and not fulfilling its contractual agreement.
Given therefore the predicament of the inability of our infrastructure investment partners ESCAF to meet its obligations under our BOT agreement, we cannot but resort to hard thinking that is capable of generating the ideas that shall lead to a solution that must be capable of being met by our shareholders, and a management framework which promises or rather assures returns as a justification in the shortest time possible.
The acting Digital Gambia, Lamin Sedikan, highlighted the country's failure in meeting the ITU digital migration deadlines since 2015. He said digital migration opened business opportunities in the media industry with significant benefits.
One of the key targets is to have an efficient management of our ICT scarce resources, radio frequency spectrum, with higher returns for all people and the country. At this juncture, allow me to look at the advantages of digital broadcasting. They include, amongst others, increase in the capacity of broadcast transmission network by improving spectrum efficiency.
According to Mr. Sedikan, the Board of Directors DGL should consider revisiting the agreement with ESCAF Telecom of Senegal and come up with a roadmap to building a DGL digital transmission platform with its business structures and strategies. In her speech, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information, Amin Jai, highlighted some of the activities implemented by ESCAF. However, efforts were made to address the inadequacies as agreed in the contract agreement, but to no avail. She called on participants to discuss and chart a robust roadmap for the success of the project.
To ensure timely implementation of the DTT project, MOISI, together with the management of Digital Gambia, have made numerous attempts to meet with ESCAF CEO in order to discuss obstacles facing the project and how to move forward. But to no avail, as he has never honored our invitations. Moreover, it has also failed to meet all deadlines set for the completion of the project. Also, and it is yet to sign 7 out of the 12 annexes to the main agreement. This indicates lack of commitment or capacity to complete this project.
In their presentations, DGL legal expert Lamin Jabi and consultant Andrew Kisaka from Tanzania both explained the negligence of the implementation of the contractual clauses as well as the establishment of a cost-effective technical infrastructure. Usman Mane, GRTS.
And to some sad news, information reaching GRTS states that legendary Kora maestro Tata Jabati has passed away today, Saturday, 21st of August, 2021. The Kora maestro is one of the leading Kora players in the Gambia. Tata was battling ill health years until his demise this afternoon. Well, to shed more light about Tata demise, we are joined live on the phone by Mr. Hasum Sise of the National Council for Arts and Culture. Many thanks for joining us, Mr. Sise.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, what more can you tell us about Tata Jabati's career and his life and times as a Kora player?
Well, Tata Dinding was a cultural ambassador and an icon of the great musical instrument called the Kora. He spent over 3 decades promoting Kora here in the Gambia and abroad. In fact, in the past few months, he was particularly active, despite his illness, in matters relating to the promotion of the Kora. He, organized the, Kora Awards recently, at the Senegajane Hall, which was really a very, very important event, to recognize the great, Gambian, Kora players. And, just before that also, he was, still very ill. In fact, sitting on a chair, he had a very, very successful night, entertaining the Nyancho family, at a very, very big, spectacle. Just to tell you, even in very, very difficult times, as far as health was concerned, he was very, very much engaged in matters relating to the promotion of our great musical instrument, the Kora. Now, even long before that, he really promoted the Kora abroad also. He was a regular feature in a lot of international festivals, at Walmart, in the UK, at the Zanzibar Festival. In fact, I want to tell him about that. He was surprised to learn that, I was quite, familiar with, his performances, in Zanzibar. The local press and the East African press, wrote very, very great reviews about his, performance at the Zanzibar Festival. Just some years ago. And coming back home again, at the in late '95, when the Gambia Television Service was introduced, he was like recruited by Mr. Ibrahim Sanyang, the manager, the first manager of the television, to do a signature tune for the new TV station. And that track, Gambia Amna TV, was really a hit track on the new Gambia television. In fact, for many years, it was like the inimitable signature tune for the television service. So really, he was always at the service of country, and also very, very keen in promoting Gambian culture, locally and abroad. And also to add,
okay.
All these Jabatis, he and his brother, Pa Bobo, Sifai, the other guys, Jaliba Piate, by Conte, Jalina Masuso, they are all related, and all of them together have been very, very, very instrumental in promoting, the Kora as, a very important, musical instrument, and also as, really the stamp of Gambian cultural identity. So that also is very, very important to note that really he wasn't operating in a vacuum, but he had this wide network, of Kora players who over the past 50 years have done a lot to promote, choir as an instrument and also Gambian music.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hasum Sise, for that short eulogy on Tata Dingding Jobate.
Thank you.
That was the Director of the National Council for Arts and Culture, Mr. Hasum Sise, on the life and times of the legendary kora player Tata Dingding Jobate. In other development, the Gold Award Holders Association, GAHA, in collaboration with the President's International Award on Thursday, concluded a 5-day summer camp at the PIA campus in Bakau. Junko Toure was there and filed in this report.
This is the closing of a 5-day trial expedition summer camp organized by the Gold Award Holders Association in collaboration with the President's International Award. The objective of the maiden trial expedition summer camp, which brought together 150 young people, is to help PIA reactivate its award units, especially in provincial Gambia. Mfamara Dabo is the chairperson of the board of directors of the organization.
To whom much is given, much is expected. But to whom much is expected, much is given. We expect young people to be agents of change in our society. So award program, from the President International Awards point of view, is trying to give young people the opportunity for you to understand that yes, there are potentials in us as young people.
The last trial expedition that we did was since 2009, which was in fact a grand expedition from Westfield to Gunjur. And since then we have not done any of such activities. So the initiative is done to bring gold holders, bronze and silver participants from all over the country to bring back the glory days, as the theme implies, rejuvenating the old glory days of the award program.
Exposing participants to different leadership skills, officials including PIA Executive Director Seni Drame dilated on the significance of the summer camp while urging them to utilize the knowledge gained from the camp.
The program is trying to mold you to become committed and responsible citizens, to take or advance the course of the development of this country to another level. It's a non-formal program that you will not be able to discover in any other program.
We want people to be engaging our young people in something meaningful, because we are in summer, and engaging these young people, training them, giving them knowledge, giving them, equipping them with knowledge and skills is something that we are indeed very happy of.
Satang Balde is a participant from St. George's Award Unit Basse. In her vote of thanks, she assured that their gained knowledge will be judiciously utilized.
We have benefited a lot of things from this training we had. Things like public speaking skill, report writing, entrepreneurship, leadership skills, etc. We are so grateful to the team that organizes this program.
As part of the engagement, certificates were awarded to participants for successfully completing the summer camp, which included a 14-kilometer trek from Banjul to Bakau. The Gold Award Holders Association was established after the first gold awarding in the Gambia in 1986 to sustain and encourage award participants and also bring gold holders together to complement the efforts of the PIA. Jankatura, GRTS News.
And to some news in agriculture. Peanut cultivation used to be a male-dominated trade, a tradition that has been for many years. Traditionally, men in the Gambia are mostly engaged in field crop production and peanuts, to be precise. This has been the culture in most communities across the country until recently, when narratives are changing surely about women are also into the same form of agricultural production. Now, well, our correspondent in the North Bank region, Farmer Akanyi, traveled to the community of Yalal Tankong Jala, where he visited a lady who has been venturing into that form of agriculture for many years. As we hear in this report, the lady's years of hard work is yielding dividend despite the lack of support. She represents a greater majority of women farmers in other parts of the region who are involved in the same form of agriculture.
Deep inside the hinterland, in the village of Yalal Tankong Jala, Jenna Banjai, a smallholder farmer, and her children are on a routine weeding exercise. The clouds are forming and the chances of rain for the day are also high. But the thunderstorm is never a distraction. Rural women will always set the difference in the field. For all these many years, the variance in opportunities have always been at their disadvantage. To most of them, peanut is equivalent to gold. Beneath the soil where they grow lies the hard work and months of endurance, but survival for the family is where everything ends. Traditionally, women from this part of the country must have their own fields every other season, a cultural norm mostly associated to polygamous families. I started cultivating peanuts since when I was newly married. Up to today, I do the work with my little children, but because of my power, I am still a smallholder farmer. Here, the cultures put men at the height of the family. Mostly at the village square, many will consume half of their day, and women must work hard to provide the means in keeping the home. Any form of hard work for the family is seen as pride and a yardstick to measure the fruitfulness of a woman's marriage. If the government can help us with loans at the beginning of the season, that will definitely do us a great help. We can use that money to buy inputs and tools, but without that, agriculture will always remain a difficult trade for the poor farmer. Adjacent to our farm, these two boys are also helping their mother. Children here are seen as a great source of labor, another reason behind large family sizes in the rural Gambia. Though my proceeds are small, but that's what I use to finance my children's education and also support my husband for the day-to-day running of the family. Due to continuous cultivation, most agricultural lands in the rural areas have been seriously degraded over time. For some farmers with limited alternatives, chemical fertilizers are the only deal to boost productivity. At the beginning of the cropping season, the government of the Gambia through the Ministry of Agriculture and its development partners have made series of interventions to ease farmers' access to fertilizers. But still some farmers, such as Jenaba and those within her category, still struggle to get a bag. For the news, I am Farmer Akani.
Gach Global Company, in partnership with the management of the Gambia Police Force, has inaugurated a new PIU headquarters in the Upper River region, funded by the CEO of Gach Global Company, Abubakar Jawara. The ceremony was presided over by the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Modu Sow, together with top officials of the police personnel. Our URR correspondent, Seydou Kamara, witnessed the ceremony and filed in this report.
Has joined collaboration with the Gambia Police Force to build this massive structure. It is the new residential building and headquarters of the Police Intervention Unit in the Upper River region, entirely funded by Abubakar Jawara, the CEO of Gach Global Company, which is working with regional police to provide conducive housing facilities and accommodation working environment for the men and women in uniform in the Upper River region. The Regional Police Commissioner in the Upper River region, Esa Bayi, commended the CEO of Gach Global for supporting the police with viable quotas that will create a conducive environment for his officers to conduct their duties. Commissioner Baji said the geographical location of the Upper River region requires concerted efforts to maintain security and eliminate the crime.
Having said this, I would like us to give a big round of applause to CEO of Gach, Alhaji Abubakar Jawara, a patriotic Gambian. Jawara's love for this country is undoubtable. He is an icon to inspire and emulate. And I would like to thank my para commandos for being the most patient commandos for the simple reason they were squeezed in 2 single rooms together with their commander. That's the situation I found these gallant and patient commandos facing. However, after living through the bad and old days, we now have a brand new headquarters for PIU intervention, that is the PIU.
GAJ Global Representative Yusufa Jawara said Abokar Jawara intervention to provide a suitable quarters for the police intervention unit is a demonstration of patriotism and strong commitment to development and nation building.
My brother is just doing what is expected of him as a good citizen and a patriot. His high expectation and the building will go a long way in making the environment conducive for our police service members in Basse to do their jobs effectively and efficiently.
The Deputy Inspector General of Police, Moduso, recalled the difficulty security personnel encounter in accessing accommodation. He acknowledged the importance of collaboration in ensuring effective security, protecting lives and properties.
And I continue to urge the servicemen and women within this region here to have partnership, to have collaborators. When you have partners, you have collaborators, you will always continue to inaugurate this one, the next one, the next one, the next one until the end of time. There is no security organism in this whole world that is 100% effective, but the one that enjoys the love, the respect of his population is the most effective. Because this is a shining example. If there was no love, there is no respect, there is no collaboration, the person who sponsored this will not put a dime in an edifice like this.
DIG Saw added that the achievements of development goals cannot be realized without security, which he described as a collective responsibility for all citizens. The Honorable Member for Basse Constituency and the Alcala of Basse, Mohamed Magazi and Seluba, respectively, described the PIU as a vital pillar of police security, which provides close protection to communities and property. He hailed the new facility as a vital base, noting that the structure will create an enabling environment for security personnel to execute their duties. A minute of silence and prayer was observed for the late IGP, who laid the foundation stone for these PIU quarters in the Upper River region several months earlier. After the inaugural address, the DIG led delegates for the ribbon cutting ceremony, officially opening the facility alongside a conducted tour of the building. In a separate development, the GAJ Global CEO also donated 1,000 bags of cement to the youth of Gambisara for the construction of a new mini stadium in the village. Sadu Kamara, reporting for GRTS News File from Basse, Upper River region.
You're watching us live from Banjul. This is GRTS News File. We're going to go for a short break. Sports News is up next. Back to Steve Biko are back to the top tier of Gambian football after trashing Jambanjeli United 4-0 in the playoff game at the Independence Stadium. Farmer Abaji has more on that game in this report.
Jam City finished as the third best team in the second division, but still failed to qualify to the first division after the new GFF former Jeff Steve Biko, who finished in the 6th position, a second chance, and they took full advantage to edge out Jam City. The playoffs, which saw 4 teams battling for the 2 spots up for grab in the first division, attracted a huge turnout at the Independence Stadium. Jambanjeli had high hopes of defeating the Bakau Giant Killers, but Biko's speed and goal-scoring ability saw them cruise to a commanding 4-0 win. The indications were there for all to see how the evening was going to be for Jam City after just 40 seconds, when Biko's Modlamin Maron missed what really should have been the opening goal. Then on the 22nd minute, Beko would punish Jam City for some uncertain defending, as Adama Bojang out-muscled the Jam City defenders to break the deadlock with a fine finish. That was the beginning of a distressing evening for the traveling Jam City fans, as they watched their side conceded a second goal from another poor defending at the back, allowing Adama Bojang to capitalize and make it 2-0 to Beko at halftime. Jam City returned from the break with some energy, but couldn't find their way back into the game, even though Malan Jammeh had a header saved by the Beko goalkeeper. But at the other end, Jam City couldn't handle Beko's attacking prowess, as Modlamin Marom powered home from close range to put the game beyond Jam City in the 64th minute. And on the 88th minute, Beko sealed victory when Modlamin Marom made a clever finish to secure an emphatic victory for the Bakau outfit, who gained promotion back to the First Division after several years.
This is not the old Steve Biko, it's a brand new Steve Biko. The teams that are there, they are the big teams. We will go there as the underdogs. The only target that we are going to look at the First Division is to maintain the position and give the players experience and try to produce good players for the national team and try to market players, because we have a fantastic young team.
His boys works better than my boys, definitely. They deserve this win. It's a deserved win, yeah. We're going back to the second division. It's where we are, so we are trying to qualify for the First Division. So unfortunately, it's not possible. So we have to go back to second division and prepare ourselves well for the next coming season.
It was all disappointment for Jam City and their traveling fans, who will find it difficult to come to terms with missing out on next season's First Division football, despite finishing above Steve Biko in the league. For the Giant Killers, they celebrated their long-awaited return to the top tier with their home supporters. Famarabaji, GRTS News.
Well, congrats to the lads over there. Well, international news is up next. Do stay. The United States has resumed evacuation flights out of Kabul for tens of thousands of Americans and Afghan allies after delay lasting hours. There are logical problems getting people out safely, and processing facility have hit capacity. President Joe Biden said that he cannot guarantee the final outcome. More in this news details.
Unlucky for the US President Joe Biden, as he attempted for that number of times to explain what the US is doing in terms of extraction of its nationals and sympathetic Afghans and others from Kabul. Well, not really, because essentially all what he was saying is kind of contradicted by facts on the ground. He said that there have been about 18,000 removed, that there was a short delay because of overcapacity in Doha, in Qatar, at an airbase. We understand that Ramstein airbase in Germany and others are going to be opened up, but still it led to a delay of flights for 8 hours. He said that he really didn't know how many Americans were still left to get to the airport, but if you go to the airport, everything's fine. The Taliban will allow you in. Well, we know from the chaotic scenes that that is not the case, especially for Afghans, even if they have special immigrant visa paperwork as well. It's quite incredible considering that also other countries like France, the UK, and now potentially Germany are sending out special operations teams into Kabul, the Green Zone, the Diplomatic Zone, and elsewhere to extract their nationals and sympathetic Afghans and take them to the airport, while the Americans cannot. Now, they understand that the Americans are the most high profile, they're in contrast to the Taliban, but the fact that this hasn't been worked out, even though they're in constant contact, is a head scratcher. And, this president was elected on empathy. And he had one line, which is, we're going to get every American out we can, although they still admit they don't know how many Americans there are in Afghanistan. But he also said that Afghans who supported the US are almost, and I stress this, almost as important as Americans.
Yes, we're making the same commitment. There's no one more important than bringing American citizens out. I acknowledge that. But they're equally important almost is all those SIVs, we call them, who in fact helped us. They were translators. They went into battle with us. They were part of the operation.
Well, that's quite an incredible admission that there is an essentially apartheid system when it comes to extracting people. Just a real own goal from a president who got elected on empathy, on racial justice. Does it stop at the America's water's edge? Well, you know, he's had a lot of criticism. He still defends his position, and he says, despite the fact that there's been big dissent revealed in the last 24 hours, especially with the State Department cable from people in Kabul saying the Taliban could take over in a matter of days, he says the consensus was that they would be able to withdraw in a more orderly fashion. Sometimes he says the chaos was predicted. It's not a best performance from a man who has 3 decades of foreign policy experience in the Senate as well. And I can also tell you that the world is watching. He said that NATO allies have been nothing but supportive. Well, you saw the parliamentary debate in the United Kingdom over the last few days. We're seeing similar words from Denmark, from France, from NATO allies. This is not the finest hour for the Joe Biden presidency. Nathan King.
Meanwhile, an Afghan journalist spoke to a Taliban commander about how the Taliban took over Kabul and the current predicament of Afghanistan. Here's a detailed report.
Just found a few Taliban members in capital Kabul. They are right now in a private hotel and have lunch together. Around us, more residents and civilians also could be seen. They say we are here for the control of the people, to prevent the robbers, and they say we are committed to have control of the Kabul city.
We have a united team. The team has been committed to bring further security and peace to our countrymen. We have so far not seen any major security incident across the country. We have also arrested a group of robbers in Kabul, those who were attempting to loot people's property. We are waiting for our leadership to announce the next new Islamic government. This is not Ashraf Ghani administration, but a government that will not allow chaos in Kabul, as you have seen in the way we have done things in the past days. My team and I didn't sleep for 2 nights just to secure the people of Kabul.
Despite the considerable support from foreign countries and governments who provide medical oxygen and oxygen production unit for the Tunisian Health Department, the oxygen crisis persists. In fact, hospitals are still facing an oxygen shortage, and the civil society has mobilized to provide affordable oxygen concentrators. CGTN's Aden Charchi reports from Tunis.
The municipality of Tunis has donated hundreds of oxygen concentrators to many public hospitals as well as basic healthcare centers in the popular neighborhoods of Tunisia in order to face the problem of oxygen shortage.
The municipality of Tunis is contributing to the national effort to fight the coronavirus. We are collecting donations from local associations and foreign partner municipalities, then providing oxygen concentrators to the hospitals where medical and paramedical staff are exhausted and patients are in urgent need for oxygen.
The governor of Tunis noted that the oxygen concentrators are life-saving machines. Therefore, local authorities and the health department have made portable oxygen concentrators available at home in order to provide oxygen supply to citizens facing respiratory issues.
We must be ready to face a new wave of the pandemic in autumn. It is necessary to provide oxygen concentrators at home because many hospitals could reach their maximum capacity in a few days if the number of infections rise in the capital city, Tunis.
Tunisia has the second highest number of coronavirus-related deaths in Africa after number 1, South Africa. This result was made public by the World Health Organization Regional Office for Africa based on data collected on August 15th.
The health situation is still critical, but the success of the vaccination drive will have an impact on the population in the next few weeks. 1 month ago, we managed the scarcity of vaccines, but now we're managing the availability of COVID-19 vaccines and the hesitancy of some people.
Tunisian authorities have allowed any Tunisian traveler to import an oxygen concentrator free of charge while returning to Tunis. Therefore, thousands of citizens are importing their own machines for personal or family use. According to the World Health Organization, Tunisia is leading the Maghreb region in the number of deaths. Experts at the Health Ministry and the COVID-19 task force are hopeful that the availability of oxygen concentrators will curb the rate of deaths. Aden Shawishi, CGTN, Tunis.
Now to Zimbabwe's poultry industry is targeting between 35 to 40% growth this year as it rebrands from a drought-induced slump in 2020. CGTN's Farai Mukatua has the details in this report.
Tafadzwa Charumbira claps his hands to rouse his chickens so they keep feeding and reach their commercial weight on time. Just one day longer than necessary means the birds start eating into his profits, which are already tight in a business that operates on close margins. Here's an association of over 600 small-scale poultry farmers who are planning to increase their production on the back of last year's bumper harvest.
The major challenges that we have, which makes it a bit difficult, is the current economic environment where things are changing. Sometimes the prices of your input costs are skyrocketing, but the intervention of this association, where they have helped us with access to finance and where they are also helping us with a better or good agricultural practices, makes it much helpful. We have seen farmers growing and doubling their production capacities. For instance, my example, I was doing 2,000 beds before the initiation of this association. Now this batch has 4,100. We are targeting to be doing 10,000.
Small-scale farmers are expected to drive growth of chicken meat production projected at between 35 to 40%.
So our emphasis as an industry and the emphasis as my chairman is to grow the small sector. So we need the environment to be equal, the bumper harvest of maize, good prices of maize will give us a better product. Also availability of foreign currency to import raw materials like hatching eggs, and also to import machineries to retool our hatcheries.
If the conducive environment is created, the industry has capacity to produce 15,000 tons of chicken meat per month. Average monthly output for the first quarter of 2021 was 10,573 tons, 21% higher than the same period last year. However, there are lurking risks that need mitigating. Small-scale poultry farmers have been urged to meticulously adhere to biosafety and security protocols. These will prevent outbreaks of avian diseases that have previously stumped production and that could financially ruin them. 2 avian influenza outbreaks in 2017 led to some neighboring countries banning chicken imports from Zimbabwe and forced the culling of more than 240,000 birds at a single farm owned by the country's biggest poultry producer. Farai Mukatua, CGTN, Rua, Zimbabwe.
Well, that does it for this edition of GRTS News File, but a recap of our top stories before we take leave of you. Transforming the country's road infrastructure ahead of the 2022 OIC Summit in the Gambia, President Adama Barrow has made a surprise visit to assess the condition of road networks in the Greater Banjul area. A Kora maestro, Tata Jabati, has died after battling a long illness. Digital Gambia Limited and SCAF are on the verge of divorce following recommendations by the Board of Directors to terminate its contract on the implementation of digital terrestrial television transmission agreement. Plus, Gach Global Company have joined forces with the Gambia Police Force to inaugurate a new police intervention unit quarters in the Upper River region. Away from home, United States has resumed evacuation of tens of thousands of Americans and Afghan allies from the Afghan capital Kabul despite some safety challenges. And hospitals in Tunisia are struggling with persistent oxygen crisis despite the support from foreign countries and government's aid of oxygen production unit of the Tunisian Health Department. Well, that does it for this edition of GRTS News File. Many thanks for watching. Please enjoy the rest of our programs on this Saturday evening. Bye for now.